life is beautiful. That's the thing that I focus on, the beauty of light and moments and people. So I'm evolving, and I feel like I'm a toddler in my photography, just because I feel like there's something beyond the horizon that I'm trying to get to, and I don't know yet what that is.
Welcome to Created Creative. I'm Dawn.
And I'm Ruth.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Yeah,
Woo-hoo.
I know.
Friend Rob and I went to a show.
Yeah, look, so I didn't see what show was it you went to?
Boop.
Was it good?
It was good because it's everything you expect Broadway to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes you want that. I've also read When the World Gets More Dicey, these really fluffy, happy, escapist things do really well.
I believe that.
But she also, Betty Boop is from the talkies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she came into the modern world and still was making some social commentary. It wasn't all vapid, but it was the tap dancing and the craziness.
Oh, for fun. Oh, that's great. And then this friend, is he part of your supper club?
Yes. I should start saying supper club. No one says supper on the coast.
That's
And maybe I could get it going.
Yeah.
He is part of the dinner party. He might go for it. He's from Ohio.
Yeah.
Supper club. I feel like in my brain, when people just say supper, it's the last meal of the day on a farm. In my head. Supper means the last meal of the day on a farm. And that a supper club is the physical space.
Yeah, they used to call a lot of the places around the lakes supper clubs.
Right. Where you went on Easter, a supper club.
People still say supper a lot around here. The supper club term is old-fashioned now. So it's just old-fashioned enough you can make it cool again out in New York.
It's true. I don't know if I'm cool enough to get it started.
Yeah. I remember when I was in high school, my brother worked at a supper club on the lake, and they would actually call themselves supper clubs.
They say it.
Yeah.
And so would the idea be that people belong and then you're running into similar people and there's a sense of community, like a club?
I don't know. It was basically just a restaurant. But yeah. But if going to the club, like a lot of them did used to have music that would play, and I suppose dancing back when people used to do that.
I would join if there was dancing.
Yeah. Do you remember when I talk to people of a certain age and I ask how they met each other, there used to be all of these little tiny clubs that they would go to and go dancing.
I was born at the wrong time.
Yeah. You would have loved every second of it. That's how they would meet each other. Dances.
I have a chapter of my life where I went swing dancing a lot in the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
St. Paul, and was like a regular enough to know other people. And the best crowd was on Wednesday night. So I would teach 4 rounds of confirmation and then youth group. And then I would go out swing dancing after that. But you're arriving at 10.
Yeah.
You're not late to the scene. It's just that I had worked a 12-hour day.
Yeah. I used to do some of that with Chris Stevens. He just interviewed. We would go out, and he is such a good dancer. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but he would just fling me around. But we would go, there was this one that we went to at Lee's Liquor Lounge. They had swing dancing on, I forget what night, but where was it that you like to go swing dancing at?
Maybe Lee's Liquor Lounge. But we couldn't have been there at the same time because I knew you.
Yeah.
I would have known that you were there.
Yeah. But it was mostly my first year and you weren't quite at seminary yet. So
I wasn't. Crazy.
Yeah.
So tell me about Chris. We have Chris on today, your swing dance partner who came up organically.
Yes.
In conversation.
Yes. Chris and I have known each other since we were, it would have been like 1992 that we met each other. And he's the brother of John Stevens, who we've had on the show several times. Or as Chris would say, John Stevens is his brother.
Right.
Yeah. Chris is a very creative person in his own right. And so we're excited to have him. And our first, his specialty is photography.
Look either at the link we're posting or at our Instagram, because he talks about a bunch of photographs. And it is an interesting podcast without looking, but it's better to look. And then go buy something or whatever artists want you to do. Support him. Before we get to this interview, though, we have picked a date for our Patreon members to have our first creative container.
Yes. It's going to be on May 15th. That's a Thursday at 7 p.m. Central.
Mark your calendar. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, 6 Mountain.
So get signed up on the Patreon so you can be part of that time.
Yes.
Yeah. Grow together.
Only $10 a month to be in creative community and have encouragement and joy and a fun creative activity to do with others, make new friends.
I'm like really excited about it. I've got some projects I've been wanting to work on. And so I think that this is going to be a great place for that.
So if you show up, you will get to meet everyone, but no pressure, no weird mixer question that everyone's going to stare at you. We're all going to work on something creative as a group that nobody has an advantage. It won't be like everyone draw a bird. It'll be like some creative thing where we can all work. You'll get some quiet time, focused time to work on your thing by yourself. So you're muted, but your camera's on so you see everyone else. And then the most joyous show and tell.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yay.
We're doing just an hour for this first one because we got to figure out what we're doing.
But then it'll go longer in the future if that feels like something that we want to do.
So use this link that's below this episode to find our Patreon. So you can join us $10 a month or 20, in which case you'd also get the quarterly coaching. Woo!
All right.
And now here's Chris.
Here's Chris. It's so nice to see you, Chris. It's been a while.
It happens.
Yeah.
The decades go by like minutes.
I know. It's so true.
When did you see each other last?
My brother's wedding.
Oh, yeah. Your brother's wedding. I was going to say your wedding, but then that's
No.
right. Your brother's wedding right after that.
2018.
Thank goodness we can keep up with each other via social media and the interwebs.
Also,
So-
no one saw each other for a couple of years, so it's not
Yeah.
like terrible.
Yeah,
Chris and I have known each other since 92.
that's the year I graduated high school.
And we were both on the same. You see, my cat is here, as you can
Okay,
see.
I have a bird, but I can't have him with me during Zoom or meetings like this. He would just wants my attention. And he also, with a bird, have him on your shoulder.
That's
you
a
can
look.
it's a look.
Yeah.
Bird on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Who you met, was it Youth Encounter?
Yes, it was Youth Encounter.
At the
We were
time,
both-
it was Luther Youth Encounter. Yes.
yeah, we were on the same first team together, North Central.
And I credit that for so many conversations with, I meet people from North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota. I'm like, what town are you from? Be like, oh, you wouldn't have heard of it. It's Devil's Lake. I'm like, right there.
Yeah. And then slept there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, would you mind taking a few moments and introducing yourself to our listeners?
Sure. My name is Chris Stevens Yu. The U is from my husband, Nick. I do photography, but my profession is speech language pathologist, mostly with kids. Now I'm doing that part-time and photography full-time.
Yeah. And for our longtime listeners, Chris is the brother of John Stevens, who we've had on our show a couple times now in different capacities. So,
He's actually my brother.
yeah. Right.
You'd say your
No, she was like, yeah, he's my brother, and I'm not his
brother.
brother.
So, Chris, tell us a little bit about your journey with photography and how that has evolved over time.
Oh man, always looked at a picture more than reading. Whenever I would get magazines or go to the bookstore, I would always be in the photo book section. As a kid, I would even go into my grandparents' closet that was full of old family photos from the 30s, 40s, 50s. I would go in for hours and pull out a shoebox and look through the photos, and just they carried so much to them. I was really into that, and I don't know what happened. High school through my 20s, got busy with school and other just socialization things.
North Dakota.
Yep, that changed me. But like around my early mid 30s, I finally decided, okay, I'm going to buy a camera that's actually real camera-ish and then take lessons. So I signed up for about a year's worth of classes through a community education. It was like a high school adult education thing in Redondo Beach, and had a great teacher, learned a lot. And then that kind of just, it kept going from there. So I started in doing mostly like landscape, and then got into wildlife. And then since pandemic, got more interested in street, which is like photos of moments of everyday people in urban settings or non-urban.
Yeah. And like you said, it's become more and more of your time now that you spend doing the photography, and you've built a business with it. Can you tell us a little bit about your business?
It's a passion. I have a website. I sell prints of every kind of medium, from frame to metal. The primary focus of my creativity is just creating versus selling. I'm like the absolute worst self-promoter, marketer, and that's not why I do it. And I'm lucky because I don't rely on it for food, paycheck stuff. So just following my passion.
Yeah, it can remain your passion when you don't have to rely on it to feed you.
Yeah.
And so I know that you've also entered a lot of shows, right? How do you hear about these different shows?
Yeah. Once you join one, they somehow smell the first meat
Yeah.
I'm part of a couple of organizations. So I'm in the Palo Alto Camera Club, which I joined in 2019. I really credit that for changing my whole entire perspective on photography. I learned so much and have an amazing community through that. And then 2 years ago, I joined a collective of other more passionate photographers, the Bay Area Photographers Collective. And we do our own exhibits. We also meet monthly, and I learn a lot about different calls, different show things from them. And then I'm also part of the Center for Photographic Art, which is based out of Carmel, California.
Excellent.
So it's the major advantage hearing about the shows. Are there other meetups?
No, it's support. Really
Okay.
just having the support. The Center for Photographic Art, I'm just a member of peripherally. They do a lot of great exhibits and a lot of amazing photographers. That's where Edward Weston and Ansel Adams and a whole bunch of other people are based in that area. It's rich in photographic history.
And I know you've done several trips that I'm sure they're also family trips like vacations, but you do a lot of photography. You're traveling as well. What's been some of your favorite places you've traveled?
My first on my list was when I went to, and this was by myself, when I did my 50th birthday Camargue trip, the white horses that are in southern France. They're technically wild, but still herded a little bit for photos. The morning I turned 50 was when I took my favorite photo, which is actually hanging up in our dining room. That was one of my goals, because I've never done a destination birthday. So I was like, I'm going to go crazy and do that. It happened to be near the town where I lived in France. It was a win-win situation.
What's the reason you were living in France?
I studied abroad. It was a year at the university. I remember because when I came back from France is when I crashed on Ruth's couch. The first thing we did when she picked me up from the airport is I had her take me to a Taco Bell. We didn't, at that time, there was not a hint of Mexican in France, and there's still not good Mexican there. Mexican food is like my thing.
You're good.
My other favorite trip was Ecuador, down to photograph the hummingbirds. They have 150 plus different species of hummingbirds there. It was just amazing. I met a cousin of mine I didn't know I had. He's American, but has been living down there since the 90s and has a wife from there. I stayed with them for 3 days. So it was like this total bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And when you are doing your photography,
Photographing.
doing photographing, I made a word.
I love it.
Is early morning best, or does it just depend on what you're going for?
I was on this journey to figure out who I was as a photographer because I love everything. I get excited about everything. So that's always been in my DNA. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. But really in the past 2 years was when I was like, wait a minute. I'm happy with my landscape photos I've gotten. I'm happy with the birds, with the horses. Street photography is the one thing that keeps challenging me and calling me. And it's also one where I don't have to wake up early in the morning.
People are out.
Yeah, when people are out. And then I do love the evening light better than morning light for street. There's a golder tone to it, shadows. That's when people are a little bit more relaxed instead of up and getting ready to go.
Do you have a project, or you're just walking around an area and whatever catches your eye with the street photography?
I'm looking at making a zine, which is like a pre-book, softcover kind of thing. I do things to make myself accomplish things. So I signed up to be at a table at a photo book fair in San Francisco in July in there. Yeah. So I signed up to sit at the table for a day in July, and I'm like, okay, now I need to have something. I mean, I don't have to. You can just be there and work, but I'm like, this is giving me some impetus. Still trying to decide what the book is going to entail. I want to do it with my street images because I've made so many books and other kinds of things with my other work.
So TBD.
TBD. But yeah, I'm not out looking for one particular thing. It's just practice and being there and seeing and being open. You have to be in this meditative state. It's interesting because I have anxiety and I listen to a lot of podcasts with photographers. I feel like 50 to 80% of the ones I've heard always talk about their own mental health issues, and that street photography is like a therapeutic practice where you're not thinking of your problems. You're not thinking about what tomorrow is going to be. You have to be open to seeing the light, seeing a person interacting with another, to see a moment, to form beauty. So you're a clean slate, just receiving.
We've just been talking about this because several books that we've been reading lately about that, about how really hard to be doing something creative and be filled with anxiety at the same time. Like it's almost impossible. And then what a relief that can be for people that suffer from anxiety to have their minds engaged in a creative project. So that's really beautiful. And I can see how that would be true with taking pictures, photographing. Yeah.
Photographing. Now I'm going to perceive photographers on the street differently, like the meditative state right here.
Yeah, it's a challenging practice as well because there's a lot of controversial discussions around street photography and privacy.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with my image? Especially, in current situations where people might be worried with their immigration status and things like that. So it's being mindful and respectful. If I see a situation that seems not right or get a weird read, I just keep walking. It's about vibing off of a situation or people and seeing like, does this seem like a situation where they're fine, they're open? And I a lot of times I'm photographing with my camera here, so I try not to hide it, but I also want to make connection with the people. So if they're looking at me, not at the camera, I like to be available.
So how often do they know, will these people know they're in the zine?
Oh, no. they won't
Like
know
you're not
it's in the
talking to
zine.
them.
Yeah. Occasionally, I've had a person ask me to delete the photo and I show them the back of the camera. I delete it, but my card with me, I'll tell them to look at because people don't understand that the practice of it. And once they see your work, a lot of times they're like, oh, that's done for beauty's sake and for storytelling.
Yeah.
And they're open. So it's not like Humans of New York where they're getting a story.
A portrait. That's a subsection of street is like street portraiture. And I think that's fine. It's not my interest. I'm interested in like the spontaneous, uncoordinated, undirected, partly because I suck at directing people. Like when I've done like family portraits and stuff, I hate it. My best pictures come when they're just interacting, doing something spontaneously.
So do you have any photography trips coming up now?
Nothing geared for photography. This last year, it was my big adventure. Last year and the year before. This year is more, we're doing a lot of family stuff. In the summertime, Nick and the boys, I have twin 13-year-old boys. They'll be in Hong Kong for a month. His parents all of our parents are getting older.
Yeah,
yeah, we all are. So he's going to spend time with them. He's trying to do some family things. The kids will be in a language camp. And I'll be here working because we take so many other trips. I need to see my patients. So that also affords me some short weekend trips. Last year, I went to Venice Beach in California and did a shot at the skate park and the boardwalk in Santa Monica. I absolutely loved it. I want to go back. And I have a photographer friend there. She introduced me to all the people at the skate park and the culture there. And it's awesome. Folsom Street Fair, which is a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. So what's been one of your most enjoyable creative experiences? You did talk about the horses, and before I continue, so then like the calendar that you made, that was from that photo shoot. Yeah. It's a beautiful calendar.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the one that I think is at the top of my moments. It's just because it's a place I'd wanted to go a long time since I was a student there. I'd always seen photos of the horses. And then the guy who was leading the workshop was somebody I actually knew and had done workshops with a few times before. It was good to hang out with them and photograph the horses when I turned 50. So it was this all things.
And who are some of your favorite creators?
I can do my biggest sources of inspiration, at least there's ones that have passed from a long time ago, and then I have current ones. The past ones, Van Ho, he was a photographer based in Hong Kong, which I recently went to. He shot there in the 40s, 50s, I think. Beautiful light, shadow, very, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but really focused on the shadow, the form, the light, the moment. He was the first photographer that I actually really was like, okay, like this is where I want to focus. So him, and then Saul Leiter. So Fan Ho was all in black and white. Saul Leiter photographed in New York, another area of inspiration for me. They photographed in color before other people were really doing it. It wasn't really looked at as art. It was just more snapshotty, but they photographed a lot of reflections and painterly look to it. So I kind of straddle between the two. I shoot probably equally color and black and white. And then the living one, Phil Penman, he's a photographer based in New York. He actually was one of the photographers in 9/11 who photographed, was there on the scene when it happened. And he has one of his or two of his photos in the museum there. He does a lot of New York street photography, black and white, really beautiful stuff.
Would now be a good time to ask if you wanted to share a few of your photos with us?
Me? Share?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And then we can talk about them. You said
Yeah.
between 3 and 5, so I picked 10. All right. I feel like these ones encapsulate who I am as a photographer. So I'll just walk through them and we can describe them. Okay, so this one is a color street image of a woman in Mobile, France. I love this one. It shows I like to shoot from a low angle, so I feel like you get the new interesting perspective, and I also get that kind of interaction if I work with them. But I don't know, I just like moments like this where she's kind of lost in thought. Of course, she's dressed like the Mod Squad, cigarette in her hand, and it just, I don't know, I like to frame things with normal street things. You have that motorcycle or motorcycling down the road, and yeah, there's just something about this.
So, like, did she know you were taking her picture?
Nope, doesn't. And it's funny because I was walking with my friend who lives there. I was like, oh, I see that woman. I want to get her picture. But then we walked by and I was like, I missed it. And she's like, just go back. Oh, okay. So back and able to position myself. And she was talking to her friend, and I snapped. And
yeah. It's a very cool picture.
It really pops. Like the town has
it's
color.
just cool. It was in the evening.
Yeah.
So twilight. Paris, looking down from one of the bridges. I was talking to my husband on the phone at the same time as I was having the conversation with him, and then just snapping at these shadows. I'm just obsessed with long shadows. I feel like it captures that feeling of being there. Little vignettes, people interacting, talking, the bike rider, just that late afternoon feel. This was in Hong Kong.
I love this one.
Oh, yes.
So this one gives you that feeling of exactly what the buildings are like there.
The one you said was like the monster.
Yeah.
Was it Monster Building?
Monster Building?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a very Instagram spot. There's all these cell phone pictures of people and they're all posing, but I was just more interested in the structure. Like the bamboo, the clothes hanging out. It's like this story within itself. Architecture was another form of photography that I was into early on. This is another shot from Paris, but from a few years ago. I call it Les Miserables. It just gives this feeling of this woman from on high looking down on the riffraff in the streets. I like the little out of focus couple there, and you go beyond them to see this street scene.
I'm curious, like, you're not focusing and framing perfectly. If you're looking around at the people,
right,
then you must have quite an eye to quickly get these things without overthinking it.
I wish you could see the amount of photos it takes.
You just take millions.
Oh my God. Because you just take so many crappy pictures, out of focus, poorly framed. So a lot of it is just serendipity. I just firmly believe that images were just meant to be. And I feel like this was one that was just meant to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just a thing. This one was another kind of moment of serendipity. It was in 2018, actually, just a month after I last saw Ruth.
I love this.
This is a good testament to a lot of times your best images come from something that wasn't what you set out to photograph. It was early in the morning on a weekend. I went to San Francisco. This is at Palace of Fine Arts. I wanted to take a picture of just the Palace of Fine Arts in early morning light with a long exposure smoothing out the water. And then after I did all that, I went into there's like a little courtyard area, and this guy was there with his accordion. All these pigeons were acting like there was a concert just for them. It was perfect.
Yeah, the light and some in the air.
Yeah, I just love his expression, the light on him, what he's wearing, just timeless.
Always loved this picture so much.
It's one that I've sold quite a bit. This is one that I like, partly because it's a testament of seeing the image before, like pre-visualizing. This was a moment I was walking across the Manhattan Bridge with my husband, and I was taking pictures through this broken chain link fence and looking at the city. And so I was doing that. And then as we were leaving, there was a train that goes on this bridge, the subway. I noticed that when the train went, all of a sudden all these birds flew up. They must have been hanging out underneath us. I told Nick, just wait. So I went back and I was waiting for another train to come by because I knew that's when the birds would fly up. But then I was able to get just this one bird framed there. There's another bird here, but I call this one break free because it feels like the bird just broke off of this fenced and
Yeah.
and you have the low-lying clouds that kind of frame it and city behind it. Yeah. And this is an interesting sign, safe, secure, protected with minimal charges, just like Prince Andrew. Like I like little Easter eggs. This was in Hong Kong, an homage to Fan Ho. He photographed a lot from these exact trams. They must be from like the 30s or 40s because they're all wood. They're very skinny, but you can sit at the top of them and look down. So I was doing a lot of that. And I love the shadow of them holding hands. And then you can see a reflection in the other trams.
Oh, I
These
love
moments.
that.
So this one is the image I was telling you about that we have hanging in our living room, dining room. This was in the Camargue. I like a lot of motion in images and blurring it. So this one kind of capitulates that. This was on the morning of my birthday. These are guardians, the caretakers of the area, like a French cowboy, just getting him in focus, looking towards the camera, and then all the blur, the movement of the horses.
The guardians are the ones keeping these horses close.
They're corral them, but then after they're done, they're roaming the whole area. They're marshes, fences. They don't feed them. They rely on.
Yeah.
This was from Venice in August last year. This was just so much I love about this image.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Like a rollerblader or roller skater.
A rollerblade, yeah.
Where the angle makes it look like he's jumping over palm trees.
Basically, just low angle. I just like low angle and on a higher angle. The instructor that I took the class from when I first was learning, 2012, one thing he said was always put your camera on the ground. And I always have remembered that.
He hasn't met a woman over 40.
Exactly.
As women over 40 never want a photo from below.
Neither do men over 40. I can tell you, it's not a good look. This guy, he's in good shape. I did meet him. He actually has this photo at his place.
I feel like the people would want them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like your responsibilities, but
just to give it to him.
Yeah.
And then this was from Folsom Street Fair. That's an interesting place. Started going just last year, and I plan on going. This is a project I would like to keep doing because I find the people so interesting. It's so different than what I was expecting. I was thinking just this dark kind of seedy feeling, but I went and I found so much strength and joy and community. It's not my community. I loved it.
Oh, awesome.
What are your boundaries? Could Ruth have an Instagram post so people can see this? If someone wants to look while they listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think
Thank you.
Your tone totally shifted once you were talking about your passion.
It's true.
They're kind of like your children a little bit. And each one, the thing about photography, and Ruth can attest to this, is I'm incredibly nostalgic. I was nostalgic before I had anything to be nostalgic about. Like when I was a kid, when I was like 5, my grandparents looking through those old photos, I was like a little kid.
Yeah.
So it's just in my nature. And so with photography, you're freezing these moments and those people are with you forever. And those moments are with you. I think it's the greatest.
How much of creativity do you think is discipline and how much is inspiration?
It's equal. I can't imagine the two being any one more than the other because I think if you don't have a practice, you're not going to see it. So you have to make yourself there. And then the inspiration comes when you're photographing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
How do you see creativity and spirituality connect?
In my world, there's so much similarity. Like I said before, one is just being an open vessel, so kind of channeling and being receptive, open to things. I think that's spirituality in itself, receiving and connecting. And then the community, my community of photographers are incredibly supportive. In my camera club, we have small groups that meet over Zoom. I've been with these people for 5 years. They watch each other grow, support each other, and learn about things. And then just seeing the beauty.
I love that. I've loved seeing your art grow over time and evolve, and it's been beautiful to see that happen. I was wondering, as you think about your photography projects or anything else, is there anything you could use some coaching on today?
I think the biggest thing that I see that I am experiencing that I see as common in a lot of photographers and probably creatives is being authentic to yourself. Being unique, like saying something that hasn't been said or doing something that hasn't been done, exploring new avenues. At the same time, being in social media and digesting images, it's so hard to break out of the, oh, I like that, or even not being aware that you're doing that. So I left social media for 4 months. Recently to say, okay, I want to see what happens when I'm not looking at other people's work all the time.
And what did happen?
I didn't photograph her anymore.
Well, the people are inspiring you to keep doing it.
There's something about that.
Yeah.
I made some rules with myself going back to social media. One is that I wouldn't look at or count the comments and stuff. So I turn off all my counting. Another one is that I would just post however I want to, when I want to. And it's for me. So it's just a place I can tell people to find my latest work. My website has more curated work that's not as updated. So yeah.
It's something about uniqueness. Is that top of mind?
Yeah. And always trying to find who am I? What's my voice? What do I want to say? That kind of stuff.
What do you want to say today? What do you want to say?
That's the hard part. For me, it's life is beautiful. That's the thing that I focus on when I'm out, the beauty of light and moments and people. So yeah, I'm evolving and I feel like I'm a toddler in my photography just because I feel like there's something beyond the horizon that I'm trying to get to and I don't know yet what that is.
Are you an Enneagram 4? Do you know?
I don't know what that is.
Enneagram 4s worry about, are you unique enough? Have you done it well enough? No,
Yes.
you could maybe Google that and see if it resonates. Don't
Okay.
strike for whether you're
I don't have to, I don't even know how to spell it, but
ENNEAGRAM.
okay. Text it to me.
Yeah.
I'll text.
Okay.
I find it helpful because it's not
Mhm.
about behavior, it's about motivation. You and I could do the same thing. Someone could watch us both, but the
Mhm.
reason we're doing it is different.
Mhm.
It's helpful moving forward, understanding others, understanding yourself.
Okay.
I like that particular framework. But it sounds like you are worried about being unique, but you're walking out into situations that are never going to be recreated, getting into a meditative state and finding the beauty. I'm not questioning the worry. I'm wondering how we can all be just satisfied with the beauty is in front of me. This is enough. I am
Yeah.
evolving.
And it's interesting because I go back and forth. But I remember watching a video interview with Saul Leiter, who was that photographer I told you in New York in the
Yep.
50s. And he was talking about, I photograph beautiful things. And I want that. Why can't I just be in that place? Because that's what I do. I photograph beautiful things that resonate with me. There's one type of street photography that I really value and love. And I feel like I suck at right now because it's really hard. It's building a complex image with multiple things going on and with framing. It's just this magic. When I see it, I'm obsessed with it and love it.
How is it same or different than the photo from Paris where the woman in the second floor window is in focus and the couple in the foreground
That's similar to it, except for what these people, a lot of these photographers are doing is building the image. So they're waiting. So that was a shot I just captured from the moment.
Yep.
Then there's another type where you're like, see a scene, you see something about to possibly happen, and then you just plant yourself because I'm not a very patient person. So plant yourself and wait to see what happens next. Try to be less reactionary and more of a builder of an image. That's my next project, is to become a builder of an image, not just a taker of an image.
The key trait seems to be patience.
Yeah. Patience and then patience.
Yeah, we talked about Jeff Hiller's husband. His name is Neil Goldberg, if anyone wants to look him up. He spent a week or two taking pictures in the subway and got like 6 people who just miss it and the door closes in their face. He must have built it. I had no language around this until right now. You're educating me. And then the patience to wait for it.
Yeah.
So do you have that kind of time?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm blessed with that. You
Great.
have time. I live right by the train, takes me into San Francisco. So
And then you do whatever your particular version is.
Yeah.
So what is the holdup? Developing enough patience?
Part of the holdup is finding the right environment where these things happen. San Francisco was going through a transition where there aren't so many people. A lot of the tech people, young people have left. So there's not a lot of places where you go and there's tons of commotion. So like traveling to Hong Kong, of course, great that every day. I want to build work based around where I live.
The next step is finding a place where there are consistent hubbub. Do you have 5 ideas? You've lived there a while.
Yeah, I mean, there's Pier 39. I like the idea of photographing tourists in San Francisco because there's a lot of things happening, maybe less just sitting and bored kind of things. That is an area that I haven't photographed yet. Then I go to Market Street. We have these cars in the city that are from the 40s, I think. They're all over the country. We, acquired them some time ago and they're part of our system and I'm obsessed with them. They're beautiful. So
they are.
People getting on, off the inside at framing. I have always so many ideas in my head.
They all seem to fit together though. Hanging out in a train, riding it from end to end, or at a point the train's pass and finding where you can build it, right?
I love public transit. I love trains, and my kids have been obsessed with trains. So it's a definite component in my.
I can't believe the only example I had was also a train.
Yeah, but
The
subways in New York are just like
I'm a big
wonderful
fan.
thing. Yeah.
Do you know that I'm in New York? Did Ruth tell you that? I do.
Where?
Yes, in Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn.
We have a place in Brooklyn,
Come visit me. Where are you?
in Dumbo.
So that's why you're walking on the Manhattan Bridge.
Exactly.
They have a little story hour in that carousel.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we walk there even in the dead of winter.
I'll be there in June.
Okay.
So we should have coffee.
I would like that.
Yeah. And Photoville. Do you know Photo?
I don't, but I'd like to learn about it.
It's in Dumbo in the summertime, June. It's a public photo gallery, and they have these themes on tarps and stuff.
Outside of.
Along Brooklyn Bridge Park. Right
I've seen
under the
them and
park.
not known why they're there.
Yeah. Doing the one in my area, and I'm going to be part of it. That's what I was saying. Photoville is partnering with the out group here.
Okay, what needs to happen? Is it that you just need to identify a place and commit to building an image? Like, wait, this was not working in the first hour. I'm going to move.
Yeah. So Chinatown and Pier 39, and then streetcars. Those three I want to work off of.
And how long would you have to stay to know that you'll be able to build an image there?
It's a lot is based on light and then the image. What I learned to do is on my phone, I'm practicing this without, I have to give myself credit. I will set a timer for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. I'll decide, is this a 10-minute place? Is this a 5-minute place? And then I'll set the timer and wait. And I won't let myself leave until the 10 minutes is up. So I think that's been really helpful for me. But I think I could do longer.
I thought you were going to say an hour.
Yeah.
I'm ignorant of the situation.
Not necessarily.
No.
I love your idea of committing to a place and just going, place that I can go routinely, because that's all the projects that I've seen that I really loved have been like that.
They become integrated into the place almost. Could you do that at least once in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah.
You're going to go a place, test the light, try and build an image, learn what you can.
It's not an easy place to get to. So that's the challenge.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chris. This was just so wonderful. More about your evolving time with taking pictures and sharing them with the world. If you had any parting advice for someone who's just getting started in photography, what would you say?
Wow. Look, you're going to make a lot of crap. Everybody starts someplace. Just listen to what makes you excited and do that. Try not to compare yourself to other people. Just learn the techniques, then learn how to break the techniques. Learn to create, but you have to learn the basics first to have an understanding of why things work the way they do. Researching other photographers, listening to podcasts like this one.
Yeah.
And
That's excellent.
Love that.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you very much. I had a great time.
Thank you for joining us for Created Creative.
We're so glad that she could be with us. And please remember to follow us on Instagram and give us a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember our Patreon. We'd love to have you be part of our community.
And go create something.
Go create something.